Well, hello there. Now, I guess this is not gonna be a usual video where we just talk about gaming and all these good stuff that is out there, because I guess nowadays there's as good as not much to talk about gaming, but let's just put gaming aside from now at least. So, today we're here for a completely different reason, and it's gonna be about career, jobs, and most specifically the field where I just took a look at today. And this is pretty much the day after where I have been a visitor and taking a look at this specific field of elderly care, if I'm saying it the correct way. I don't know how you really describe it, but it's you gotta work with every sort of people, like people who just don't even know their names, people who just are not even being able to talk, people who just randomly start screaming, and you just can't force those people to do things the way how you want to do things, your way, or how it's designed to do, because even if you got a protocol and shit like that, working with humans is never easy, and it will never be easy anytime as far as I can go back, regardless of what time I go back to. And honestly, I got all my respects, pretty much to all the people who do these sort of work on a daily basis, because I just, did think about it, maybe just, a slight maybe if I could, do it. But this one day, just, as a visitor and someone who just had the ability to be right in front of the stuff that was happening, and I could do a little couple of stuff in there, nothing too disgusting, but it's just when you're right there, and even though I didn't really want it to do this, it's more I wanted to take a look at it and then say out then I can have my opinion. Hey, I can do this because it requires, I don't know, your nervous system should be made out of steel. And obviously, like I said earlier, it's just, you have to imagine that I have been on the second floor, and every single human being there at this elderly care place or house or whatever they are called have been in their 80s. There have been people in their 90s. Somebody is really close to the 100. But you have to imagine that the people who are really close to 100, they just can't provide themselves nothing. They can't even walk. They can't even eat. They can't do nothing. You have to imagine that there are people who just can't bite and can't drink water, just like you would if you just open up this bottle, or if you would use a glass or anything like that. A lot of the obviously there's not a lot of them, but it's just, you have to imagine that this is not a work where just, hey, we go in, we do 8 hours, then we clock out, go home, and that was it. This is not the way it is. I thought it would be maybe like that, but the thing is, nowadays, you just, if you want to find something out, you have to go in there. Even if it's, maybe it's not for you, but let's say you want to try it out just for the sakes to, I don't know, have the opinion or maybe even an experience, depending on, how long you do this stuff. But especially, I would not recommend to those people who already have this feeling of doubt. If you already doubt yourself in a way that, hey, I will not do this, but I want to like, maybe just finish it to have some sort of kind of a fancy paper. I would not recommend it at all. And it's just a waste of time if you don't want to do this sort of a work in your future. It's just not worth it. It's just, you really can't work in any other field that is not related to human beings that needs to get some care. Like you gotta do some care for them. And so like I made this video just for the whole reason to just share my experience and my thoughts with you. Maybe a lot of you might find this like a nonsense. I don't really care. I'm just gonna share it anyways. And basically, I feel like this was a good experience for me because I mean I kinda suspected like how this sort of a work could be. But I guess like you never know anything, even though like like you think about it, like you try to imagine it, how it is not. But you never really know stuff unless you just go in there in person and you do your stuff that you want to like find out like how that thing actually could be. And it's like really hard because you have to also like deal with death. You just never know. Like maybe you just walk in the morning, or depending on what shift you are working at, and maybe that human being, be it a man or woman, doesn't matter, maybe he or she is not there anymore, or maybe when you just want to serve the breakfast, because that contains also, that is like also part of your of your work, to serve basically the breakfast and every sort of a meal. It just depends on what shift you work at, but it's a really hard thing to deal with, like obviously even if it's not a family relative, like it's, I guess like death like never becomes like easier regardless if you are relative to the person or not. Maybe it's just the me sort of a thing, or I mean it's probably stupid to say, or maybe you might get like used to it, but I don't really know how you can get like used to death, but whatever. And I'm sorry for that, but basically it just really feels like, I don't know, like is it like a suffering more for me to be there to witness that all these human beings had a previous life before they did, like do their thing, they had their own families, everything. They had basically a complete life, and just because they got this illness, it's like I think like called dementia, where you just completely forget like everything. Like some people do know some stuff, there are better days, worse days, but all around it's just, you will not know a lot of stuff. Like I have seen like there where you go in to just check in to see if the person's like doing right, and she doesn't know your name even though you were yesterday there. And it just feels like so unreal. And this is what I'm like talking about, that it's like if you want to do this kind of a work, you just really can't get close to the person. Or I mean you can, but at the same time, if you get close to the person and you gotta know that the person won't be but there forever. Like maybe yesterday that human being had like a really good day, and the day after maybe the human won't be able to like get out of the bed. Like this is what I'm like talking about. And to just witness this, to just accept this, you gotta deal with this. And obviously the way I see it is just, it's just not designed for people who really care about other people. Like you really want to, I don't know, make the best out of the best. Like, I mean, probably this is the best thing that you can do, is just to accept it, because you really can change somebody's health, you know? Like, you are not there to some specific reason to, I don't know, give them a second life. But hey, it's just my thoughts that, you know, that have been like roaming around my brain, and I just wanted to like let this all go. And like I said earlier, like a lot of you might find this like, you know, useless information, but I had a good talk, so whatever. See you in the next video.